Bobby and I come out together. We were doing the yellow, and rule is clear.
Bobby out again, and Bobby going out very, he passed a car. What's he doing? Look at that, he's passed about half a dozen cars.
Oh, James, that's
Under the yellow, you can't do that.
And when I left the pits this one time, I didn't need to do it, but it's the way the rules work.
But you're supposed to blend into the traffic, right? Let's see if he did that at all.
Yes, you are supposed to leave that pit lane, and if you have to pass a car for other reasons, it's for blending purposes. But certainly he has accelerated all the way down below the double yellow line there and simply overtaken a lot of cars there. I'm sure Bobby must know the regulations. I'm sure he knew what he was doing.
According to the rule book, I can pass any car that there is above the white line if I'm below the white line exiting the pits, okay, which is the pit extension. But I can't pass the pace car, and it states that in the rule book. You can pass any but not the pace car. It states that very clearly.
I'm not sure why he did that. I know that you're certainly not supposed to do it. The regulations say that under yellow flag conditions, you must not pass any other cars, and that certainly has been the case here. He certainly passed other cars.
Well, the ironic thing was that everybody saw it. You know, they had talked about it, and no one called it at that particular time. And if we'd have been brought in, if we'd lost the lap, we'd had a chance to get it back.
When ABC sent us the tapes, we saw Mario did exactly the same thing I did. Same lap, same turn, same place, same everything. He just didn't quite pass as many as I did. They only passed 3 or 4, and I did 8 or 11, whatever it was.
But even while Bobby Unser savored his third Indianapolis victory, rumors of a pending protest were heard. The official standings are not posted until 8 a.m. the morning after the race. When that time came, Bobby Unser had been penalized 1 lap by officials for passing other cars under the yellow flag. An agonized Mario Andretti was declared the winner. Unser was dropped to second.
I was presented everything, the ring, the pace car, and everything. And then, of course, you know, the big protest.
The court of last resort said, listen, we were right. There was plenty of time during the race. If they called a penalty, and we felt with the car we had that we were very competitive, could have got the time back and the positions back and still won the race.
The final verdict was, yes, Bobby did commit the infraction, but in this case, the penalty was too severe, so they fined him $40,000. If he would have finished second, there would have been no question they penalized him a lap, not even, you know. But because he crossed the finish line first, the rule changed. And that's the part that was hard to swallow.
Did I have to do it? Of course I didn't have to. My car was awesomely fast that whole day. But by the same token, had I known that it was going to become such an issue, I dang sure wouldn't have done it, because beating Mario was easy.
The following year, when we were at the drivers' meeting, Tom Binford says, you know what, and that was not his fault, because, you know, he's the one that called the penalty, you know, but he says, you know what, if this happens again, there's no way that you're going to get away with it. So, okay, now, too little, too late. But, you know, Bobby will argue that to his grave, obviously, but that's Bobby.
Bobby Unser, 1981 Indianapolis 500 winner.
Yes, he was. And he was the oldest winner of the 500 at that time. He, of course, also won in '68 and 1975. And he joins Jan, Robbie, and me up here in the booth. Truly one of the greats of all time. And not only on the racetrack, but up here in the broadcast booth. And one of the things that Bobby is just blown away with is the technology that's around us, because you didn't have the HD monitors and all that information. You had to work, and I can relate to you on this, you had to work with the 19-inchers when you were working at TV, huh?
I did this for 13 years, and I walk in here today, and I see you guys have Sony monitors that I can really see. I can see everything on them. I think you guys should be cutting your pay in half. I should have been paid twice as much.
We already did that.
I couldn't see the monitors.
Okay. I want to go back to 1963, because you are one of the few drivers really that are still around that drove the front engine cars and then made the transition to the rear engine cars. Not only a front engine car in 1963, your rookie year, but the Novi. What was that like?
That was a good car. I know a lot of people were afraid of it. The fans loved it. but the race drivers were afraid of it. It made a lot of noise, made a lot of power, but there's one thing they forgot. It was 8 cylinders, V8. So the pulses of the cylinders were real close together, so it was smooth. So I had a lot of traction that the Offies didn't have, because I drove both. My rookie test was in a laydown Offie. So the Novi was really nice. It was smooth power, and the power would come off the turns at X amount, and it would increase as you went down the straightaway, which is exactly what you want.
Yep.
So it was a good car. It was just awfully heavy, and it certainly wasn't going to finish anything.
Yeah, unfortunately, you finished 33rd in that race.
That was my fault, though. The other races you saw on TV, that wasn't my fault. I did win it, and I got paid for it. But the one in 63, that was my fault.
Guys, you want to talk to Bobby Unser?
No, you know, the one memento that I have of you is I have the Olsenite Eagle, which was the Gurney chassis, and it was a liquor bottle that my dad gave me. That was
I
the
didn't
one thing.
drink the liquor. It was no good.
No, I know. That was just, I still have that car. It was the memento that I got here at the Speedway.
Yeah, Neil Jones and I in Denver, Colorado thought that idea up.
You did?
Yeah, we went to, I think it was the Lion's Zone Company. The worst whiskey that you could ever believe in your life to drink. It's like drinking.
Well, I was only 10 years old, so I wasn't going there with it when I got it.
I was drinking by 10. Sure you were, Rob. Yeah, come on. You got to start sometime, you know.
Okay, you caught me.
That'd burn the whiskers right off your throat, that stuff was. So most of the people, I still sign those things pretty often. And most of them are still full of whiskey because I told everybody, save the model, don't drink the whiskey, you know.
Now, Bobby, you've talked about how things have changed in the booth, but things have changed a lot out on the racetrack. We've talked today about innovation. We've talked about how things have changed. What have you seen that's changed that you like and changed that you don't?
Well, I like an awful lot of things about it. The track is nicer. Everything is nicer around here. The cars are really nice. If I'm going to have a gripe about it, it's going to be that they're too much of a spec car. In other words, they're all the same. And I think the idea with Brian was to make the cars would be equal, make the racing closer together. But in doing that, sometimes it makes passing hard. Both you guys have been race drivers. You know that the passing gets harder when every car is exactly equal, similar to what you're seeing in NASCAR today. So if I had my druthers, I'd go back to more innovation. I'd let got brilliant minds around the Indianapolis cars. The mechanics, the engineers, they're brilliant people. And I'd like to see them innovate some different things. So therefore, the TV people like you guys, used to be me, like all the media today would have something really exciting to write about. And even if the cars would separate in speed a little bit, that's good. This year you'd be fast, next year he'd be fast, and so on. I think it'd be good for racing.
And you talked about TV, and obviously having spent your time here, the most famous relationship certainly is between you and Sam Posey. We know what it was like on air, but did you guys speak off air? Because you would hammer him.
I picked on Sam an awful lot, but I won't apologize for it because I was always right. Sam was always wrong. But that being said, Sam was a good friend of mine. He really was. We got along really well. And I mean really well. I knew him for years. He was a terrible race driver, and I just told him, you stay out of the racing and talk about the wives of the drivers and this and that and the other, and I'll cover the racing thing. Paige and I can do that. But we had a good time doing it. I think my TV years were really exciting. I enjoyed them. We tried to do a good job. I incidentally, and it's not because I'm sitting on your show right now, but I really think you guys did a good job the other day, and my wife Lisa and I watched it, and we watched it intently. And you know, if anybody's going to gripe about it, it would be me.
That's right.
And there was no gripes. I thought you guys did a really good job. I like the difference in your show, how you present it. I like the job that you two guys are doing. You're feeding off of each other good.
Pay the man, Jan.
Well, you owe me a couple of drinks or something, you know.
Bobby, thank you for stopping by. By the way, he is the only driver to finish last in his first 500-mile race and finish first in his last. A true champion of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 3-time winner. Bobby Unser.
Well, thank you for having me, and that's a new one.
How about that?
I put that. That's one for you there.
Thanks to Russ.
First
Thompson.
and last,
Yep.
and I won the Fastmasters too. And Terry Linger, our boss on the air, is the one that did that. So I got to mention that a little bit.